Okay, hello guys and welcome back to the Let's Talk series. Today we're going to be talking about the Northwest Division of the NBA. We're going to talk about a little bit about each team and, give some thoughts, some opinions. And if you guys have anything to say, your own opinions, your thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. And if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with the Nuggets. So the Denver Nuggets are a very interesting team. As constructed right now, even with the return of Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, I don't see playoff contention, or at least very deep playoff contention, right? The reason that is, you got Jokic, who is one of the better talents we've seen in the NBA in a long time, as far as a big, right? He's very skilled, a good passer, great scorer, kind of lackluster on the defensive side, but he kind of makes up for it with everything else. But I just don't like what I see out of the trio on that team, right? I like Jamal Murray. I think when healthy, he's a great player. If he can stay healthy, I like him alongside Jokic. I think that's a great fit. But my thing with MPJ is that while I do like him and he was really efficient in that season, I think he averaged like 19 points, above 40% from three-point line, good defender. It's just that he's too injury prone for my liking. Him receiving that big contract, it was a little premature just based off of one good season that you saw of him, right? And I think that while I would like to see all three of them come back next year and have a run this year, which I'm hoping they do. I hope they give it at least one try and see how everything goes. If they can stay healthy, maybe, they prove me wrong and they go deep in the playoffs, right? But as for now, I just don't like the team. I don't think it has what it needs to make a deep playoff run. And I think maybe they should look towards trading Michael Porter Jr. for maybe some defensive players, maybe a better defensive wing, maybe someone on the defensive side of the ball as a big who can kind of help Nikola Jokic and hide him a little bit on defense. Although Jokic's defense did kind of improve this season from what I saw. I felt like he made a lot of big-time blocks down the stretch when he needed to be there for his team, right? I just don't know how much I am in love with this team, and I think maybe trading away MPJ after this season, seeing how the three mesh together in a full season, I think that might be the move for them. Okay, moving forward to the Portland Trailblazers. It was extremely upsetting to kind of see Dame not play this year. I think he's a spectacular player to watch every season, one of the better players every year, one of the best closers of all time, in my opinion. I think if you want to get someone the ball in the last couple minutes of the game, you give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to make the big-time shots. He's not afraid of the limelight. And, it almost strengthens him, right? And it was just sad to see him injured, but you saw how poorly the Trailblazers did with him injured, right? But on the upside of that, they got a good draft pick. I like Shaedon Sharpe as the 7th pick overall. I think it was a decent addition. I like the Jeremy Grant pickup. I think it kind of fills a spot they needed to be filled. Again, I don't know how much I am in love with Nurkic. I don't know how I feel about this team, right? I like each individual by themselves, but all together in a team, I don't love them. And I think it's just a makeup of they have their guy in Dame who's gonna finish out the games and who's their superstar, but I just don't like I don't see a definitive second-hand man to him, right? A lot of people are gonna say it's Anthony Simons. While I do like him, I just don't like him enough, and there's a lot of potential, but I think he's gonna kind of take a big backseat next year with how Dame's gonna be kind of needing the ball most of the time, and I just don't know how well Anthony Simons can play off the ball, and so there's a lot of things that could go with that. Like I said, I do like their addition of Jeremy Grant as well as Gary Payton II. I think he's gonna be a great defensive help in the backcourt, so really like that addition, and yeah, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with keeping Dame healthy and happy, and continuing to progress some of these younger guys and seeing how it all meshes. I wouldn't be, again, surprised if they traded a few of these guys like Nurkic. While I do like Nurkic and he had a really promising start to his career, his injuries have kind of dwindled him down, and while he is solid, I think maybe they could be better off with a more defensive big who can produce maybe 10, like a double-double type of big, but produces great defense, right? Instead of someone who's like maybe 15 to 17 points in Nurkic, who's a better scorer, better passer, but he's not the best defender, right? The Timberwolves. I'm going to say the biggest thing, actually two biggest things. So the addition of Rudy Gobert, I like. I like that addition. I think Rudy Gobert is a top 5 center in this league solely because he's such a defensive presence, and he still gets you 15 points. He is not a great offensive player, I'll tell you that. A lot of it relies on his height and him being bigger and longer than everybody. But he is one of the best defenders of all time, really. While it doesn't seem like that sometimes, he really is. He's got 3 defensive MVPs. He's tied for like 3rd or 4th all time in defensive MVPs. And I think he's just a very solid player alongside Cat, who's not the best defender, although he has been getting better year after year. But now you can kind of rely on him to be more of an offensive threat like he really is and what his potential is to be on that side of the ball, and kind of have Rudy Gobert to kind of help out there on the defensive side of the ball on the front court. And another thing is I don't like that they got rid of Patrick Beverley. I think that was their heart. That was the heart of their team last year, and it's a big loss to them. And I understand why, and I didn't want to pay him that money, and they have a decent backcourt in D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards, but I just liked him on that team. He brought a lot of tenacity that a lot of those guys don't have. Kind of like D'Lo. I just feel like D'Lo is a very talented player, but has no drive, and he's going to continue to just be kind of meh until he kind of just, finds that drive, which I don't think he will, and that's why I kind of want to segment into the Timberwolves kind of trading him. I think that maybe getting rid of D'Angelo Russell, as solid as he is, and moving on from him and getting someone else and getting rid of that big contract might be what's ideal for them moving forward. And another thing is, I think their front court or the front office kind of deserves some sort of extension, and Gupta being a big piece of that. I just think what they did this year, seeing how they've been performing in the last 10 years or so and being one of the least winningest NBA franchises in the league of all time, I think having that strong front office is going to really help the rest of these guys on the starting lineup and continue their flourishment, right, and their progress moving forward. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm really upset that Chet Holmgren got injured. I had high hopes for him. I thought he was going to be a great player this year. Him being out the whole year is demoralizing to the team, to him, and it just shows that he needs to put on some weight. He needs to bulk up a little bit because as talented as he is, these guys are big in the NBA, and they're going to pummel their way through him just like LeBron did on what is a casual LeBron play. Imagine against a guy like Zion or Joel Embiid, someone bigger and stronger than LeBron. It's just he needs to bulk up and he needs to focus on his body more than his skill because he is already such a talented player that he needs to just focus on preserving his body in the long run. Again, they're just entering another year of rebuilding. I don't see anything great from them. I think progressing some of those young guys is going to be good. Figuring out what they're going to do with Shea, if they're going to keep him and move him forward into the future. He kind of fits the timeline, but is he rotting away with the Thunder? I know he got a big contract, but it's just there's a lot of things that go into it, and maybe do they give him up and really go into that full rebuild mode with everyone being a completely young, fresh new player, or do they build off of him and continue moving forward? I think they should build off of him, but I just don't know if that's what's best for him in particular, although I do think it's best for the Thunder. And the last team is the Utah Jazz. They made a lot of moves this year. They traded their best 2 guys away in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And I think when you look at their starting lineup, it's awful. It's one of the worst starting lineups. No, it probably is the worst starting lineup in the NBA, and probably one of the worst starting lineups in a long time that we've seen in the NBA. And they're in full rebuild mode. I think they could get rid of Mike Conley Jr. Maybe they keep him there. Who knows? I think they get rid of him and then completely start their full rebuild. And yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of negative stuff in the near future for the Utah Jazz. A lot of losses. Hopefully what comes out of that is a lot of good draft picks and a lot of great players that will thrive in the near future in the NBA. But for now, we're just going to see a lot of downside of the Utah Jazz. I think going into full rebuild mode and embracing that aspect of their team is going to really help them in the future, right? We're not going to see anything out of them for the next 4 or 5 years, but I think really taking a front driver's seat into that rebuild mode is going to really help them flourish. But yeah, I think that's really going to do it all for today, guys. I really enjoy talking about each team individually. I know it might not be the most interesting topic for everybody, but it is kind of nice to delve into them before the season starts. Kind of give my opinions, my pointers of what they need to do. But yeah, as always, there's going to be another video on the screen above towards the middle. If you want to go check it out, see some other of my videos, go ahead and click the link. Go ahead and check them out. My channel's up above as well. And as always, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, take care.